All right, hello there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we're about all things cinema. All right, it's early in the morning. I just finished feeding my dog Shiloh and gave him his little after breakfast dog biscuit, so he's happy. And I thought I'd take a few minutes to come on here and share my thoughts on a recent release from the Criterion Collection on Blu-ray. This is another film from Shawn Baker. It's the third film of his that I have seen after Takeout, which I reviewed on this channel a few years ago, Anora on 4K Ultra HD, the Academy Award-winning Best Picture film that I reviewed recently on this channel, and now Prince of Broadway. This is the third title of Shawn Baker that I have seen, and so far, so good. Shawn Baker's 3 for 3 for me so far. So I want to take a few minutes and share with you what I think about this film. This is an early work from Shawn Baker. It stars Prince Adoo here as Lucky. He is an immigrant from Africa, from West Africa, from Ghana, living on the streets of New York City, hustling on the streets of New York City, selling counterfeit goods. So I want to share with you what I think about this movie, what I think about the picture quality of this Blu-ray disc and the supplements, and whether or not this is an addition that you should consider adding to your collection. Is Prince of Broadway worthy of adding to your collection? We are coming up to the end of May as of the time I'm recording this video. We are about a month away, just about a month away from what we believe will be a 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble for Criterion titles. So is Prince of Broadway a title you should consider adding to your cart in July? Let's talk about it. All right, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Just coming on here, just sharing my thoughts for a few minutes about another release from Criterion of a Shawn Baker film. And based upon the output so far of Takeout, Anora, and now Prince of Broadway, the more Shawn Baker films that can come in the collection, the better. So hope you are doing well. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get a few things started here. I'm using Microsoft Edge. So I'm using Edge for my browser here. So I'm hoping that that will give me an edge in terms of being able to share my content a little bit better. Pun fully intended. So you should be seeing my screen now, and I'm going to go into slideshow view. But yeah, this is Prince of Broadway Criterion Blu-ray review, and I'm really excited to share thoughts on this title, because this is an example of another example of a release from Criterion that, at first glance, I think to myself, I'm not sure if I'm interested in that or not, but you read about it, you understand a little bit more about the director and the types of films that he makes, the independent filmmaking style. This is a fantastic early work from this director that I'm very excited about sharing thoughts on, and I'm very glad that I've seen. So this film, Prince of Broadway, it tells the story of Lucky. He is a Ghanaian immigrant. He's hustling counterfeit sneakers as well as counterfeit clothing, counterfeit DVDs on the streets of New York City. And he's doing it in the wholesale district of New York. So that's a particular district in the New York City, Manhattan area. His life is very fast-paced and full of grind, hustling and bustling, running around here and there, to and fro, until one day a former flame of his, a former girlfriend, drops off a toddler at his doorstep. Basically says, hey, Lucky, here's your kid. I've been taking care of him all this time. I got to do some things for a couple of weeks. Now it's your turn to take care of him. And tells him, hey, you're the father. This is your kid. Take care of him for a while. So with no warning and very little support, Lucky's life is suddenly transformed as he's forced to balance the street hustle life with unexpected fatherhood. So this is a film that's about love, resilience, and survival. It's grounded in reality very much so. And you see that in the imagery, but it's full of heart and it never feels exploitative or heavy-handed. This is Shawn Baker, an early version of the filmmaker Shawn Baker, showing his brilliance even back in 2008. He's observing with his camera, his video camera, not preaching, and that's part of the film's very quiet strength, realizing the grittiness and the real life of people living this lifestyle in New York City, in this area, hustling counterfeit goods. It's a really interesting look at that life. Of course, we see here the director is Shawn Baker. This is Shawn Baker, the director. And, I tell you what, I have been very impressed with his output so far. I did a review on this channel of Takeout, which also takes place in New York City, which I'm wondering, I guess all of Shawn Baker's films, no, I don't think all his films take place in New York, but all the ones that I've seen have taken place in New York, including Takeout, which is excellent, which I highly recommend. Check out my review of Takeout on this channel. I'll probably put a link in the description of this video to that review, as well as a link to the review that I recently did of Anora on 4K, the Academy Award winner for Best Picture. Shawn Baker, the director, won Best Director. He won for the screenplay, and Mikey Madison won for Best Actress. So 4 Oscars for that film. Really brought a lot more attention to Shawn Baker after many years of hustling and bustling as an independent filmmaker. So, again, this story is very fascinating. You see here a picture of his girlfriend saying, "Hey, here's your kid. You need to take care of him for a while. I have been taking care of him for the past year and a half. Now, you need to carry your weight. Is your kid." So let's check out the trailer real quick and get a flavor of what this film is about.
I want to go to the United States. He's the father, right? I think so. I hope so. Rich people that look like they got money, and then hustles them to buy some fake ass shit. I'm not playing. It's not a game. This is your son, and I need you to help me with him. You have a baby. That's what I get from the story, right? She came to the job. She dumped this baby off the side. It's not baby. Go to sleep. I don't know. You understand what you are getting yourself into? This is a little baby, man. What am I going to do with this shit? I don't know what you're going to do. Yes, of course, this one little father. Yeah, I know it's cold, but he's like a good. He's the only home on Broadway with a baby working with you. I need you to stay with the baby for 2 more weeks. Don't you think about your son, how he's suffering? That's not your son. That is not a white boy's son. Listen, I want to take that test, yo. Now you can't. Come get the fucking son, nigga. I'm gonna get that DNA test. If that baby is mine, you'll never see that baby again. I swear to God. If he's gonna go up to be a big man, you see. You see, like I figured that shit. That's your dad right there. What's the monster's name anyway? Prince. Prince? My dad had a dog called Prince. Are you calling him after a dog? Prince meaning you're the king and he's the prince. Are you like the musician?
Yeah, so hopefully that gives you a flavor of the grittiness and down to earth feel of this movie, really putting you in the shoes of Lucky as he's dealing with this upside down change in his life, all of a sudden having fatherhood thrust upon him, surprisingly, is seeing his evolution as a character throughout the story as a result of it. Taking care of his son and trying to make a living, trying to eke out a living on the streets of a New York City that is beautifully realized in a very realistic and grounded way in this film. And that's based upon the wonderful pre-work that Shawn Baker and his team did in really getting a genuine and realistic look at what life is like, working with real people who do this type of hustle life in New York City in this particular district of Manhattan, and bringing it to life in a very realistic way, authentic way. And just a beautiful example of independent filmmaking at its best. Of course, Prince Adoo as Lucky. I mean, this actor, Prince Adoo, is an absolute revelation. The supplements talk about how Shawn Baker and his team, when they first met Prince Adoo and realized that he was an actor, was trying to, get an acting job and was doing some different things, and how he was able to show them this life and really walk them through, this particular area, and realize the realism of this type of a life and this culture. He really brought a lot of the authenticity to this story, and he's a revelation as Lucky. His performance is completely naturalistic, and he brought a lot of that naturalism not only to his own performance but to everything that you see on screen. He's full of charisma in this role, and as well as subtle vulnerability, with this responsibility of taking care of this little life. It's not a flashy role. It's one that lives in the details, from his charm on the street to the frustration and tenderness that he shows in his private moments. You see the sort of the tears in his eyes on the left there. You know, uh, Prince. I mean, Prince Adoo just gives his character life and depth and humanity. So, just does a fantastic job in this particular role. I don't know of any other films he's played in, but this is certainly um, a great find by Shawn Baker, and a great filmmaking combination that they had together. Peddling knockoffs in the Big Apple. So yeah, I mean, this is gives you a picture of the life. You see him to the far up to the top left, talking to a couple of ladies who he just happened to see on the street and saying, "Hey, I have really good goods. I have all the brands you want. Just come over to my store." And you see to the far right, you see a little visual of the store in the right and in the center there. But yeah, it is a hustle life. It's something I know I wouldn't be able to do, but it's something that people are doing every single day. I believe even to this day in New York City, peddling knockoffs in the Big Apple. Lucky, here, take care of your kid for a while. So yeah, this is the actress. Interestingly enough, this actress here, who plays the mother dropping off the son, she is the actual mother. Now, her name, oh my goodness, what is her name? Linda Cat Sanchez. Cat Sanchez, that you see there, basically giving the little baby to Lucky. That is the baby's mother. And she plays a really interesting role in this film, throughout this film, in terms of struggling with her sense of responsibility and things going on in the background that we don't get a full picture of, but we just know that she's living a very complicated life. This is a very big part of the story of this film, Lucky and Karina. Kiali Mayaga plays Karina in this film, a beautiful, beautiful lady that you see up there at the top right. She is a huge part of the grounding of Lucky's character and keeping him down to earth, helping him with the new responsibilities of fatherhood. He doesn't know what to do with this baby. And so she's able to come in and rescue him at certain times, dealing with the dynamic of, oh, you have this kid with this other woman, and her sticking with him throughout that. So this is a very part of the emotional core of this story, the relationship between Lucky and Karina, and her keeping him down to earth in this story. So this is Prince Adoo as Lucky and Kiali Mayaga as Karina. Sorry if I mispronounced her name, but she is wonderful in this film and just does a great job of grounding him, grounding in the Lucky character. Karagulian as Levan, Lucky's boss. Now, this gentleman, Karin Karagulian, has appeared in many of Shawn Baker's films. I don't know if he I'll have to check and see if he's in Takeout. I bet he is. I don't remember if he played a character in that film, but I'll go back and check and see if he did. But this is Corinne Carulian as Levon, Lucky's boss. He also played in Anora, really interesting role in that film. And so it was really cool to see him, rewind 16 years earlier, him playing in this film, Prince of Broadway. And he was Lucky's boss in this film. He basically was the Armenian immigrant who owned the store or who rented the storefront that they sold these counterfeit goods in. And of course, it was illegal. And so they had to always be on the lookout for the cops. And, they had guys on the street saying, giving them a heads up to say, hey, I got some cops around the corner who are about to come in. And so they have to sort of hide the goods. But it's a very interesting dynamic running this illegal operation, but also you see the heart and soul of his character as he's, dealing with little Prince there. And you see the humanity. So even in the midst of this hustle and bustle lifestyle, doing things that are not exactly on the right side of the law, there's still humanity there and real feeling, as these people are just trying to make a life, trying to make a living, even if they're not going about it exactly the right way. Of course, this film also, I appreciate the depth of this film. So you're dealing with Lucky, who is a street hustler, who's doing that as part of his life, big part of his life, trying to make it in New York City, who is now thrust into the responsibility of fatherhood. That's a big part of the story. The dynamic of Lucky trying to raise or trying to take care of this kid who he's told is his son, and the shock that that brings to his life is a big part of this story. The dynamic of Lucky and his girlfriend is a big part of the story and her support of him. But then you also get into a little bit of his boss, Levon, played by Karen Karagulian, and his relationship with his wife, Nadia, who Nadia was played by Victoria Tate, who is an associate producer on this film. She's an associate producer, and she played the wife of Levon in this film. And they're having some challenges in their marriage, and so this film deals with that dynamic in this film, and it adds just another layer to this overall story that I think gives this film so much depth. Seeing Lucky and his trials and tribulations, seeing his girlfriend working through it with him, seeing Levon, his boss, working through some situations with his wife, Nadia, and their marriage challenges, just adds a lot of depth to this story. Victoria Tate is wonderful as Nadia. And of course, Karen Karagulian as Levon is also just terrific. He was terrific in Anora. I'll have to go back and see if he was terrific in Takeout. I bet he was. I just don't remember. It's been a couple years since I've seen the film, but he was really, really good in this film. All right. So overall, I really like this film quite a bit. This film has that gritty flavor to it. I love films that take place in New York City, as I've said many times on this channel. And this is another example of a great independent film on the streets of New York City that I really, really enjoyed. If you look at I won't read the whole description of the case, but it says a raw, disarmingly moving slice of neo-realism. This early career triumph from do-it-yourself DIY auteur Shawn Baker plunges into the world of West African immigrant Lucky, Prince Adoo, and his Armenian Lebanese boss Levon, Karen Karagulian, two unlikely friends who peddle knockoff designer goods in Manhattan's wholesale district. So I love the fact that this film dives into both of their lives. So it goes into a little bit of depth of who Lucky is as a person, as well as who Levon is. And so it's a very deep and rich story. So I like the film. But as far as how this film looks on 4K Ultra HD, I will say, and let me just come out of this for a minute. Let me stop sharing for a second. So as far as the picture quality on this Blu-ray, this is a very nice looking Blu-ray edition from the Criterion collection. I'll open this case here and I will read. I had to do a cut just there. I'm gonna tell on myself. I had to do a cut there because I accidentally said 4K. It's a nice looking 4K, but it's actually a Blu-ray. So I did a cut there. It says here about the master. Prince of Broadway is presented in the aspect ratio of 185:1. This new 4K master was created from a 35 millimeter negative made from the original digital video master. So this film was shot on like video camcorders, I believe. And so they took that digital video master and they scanned it into 4K, and they took the original 35 millimeter negative from that original digital master. And the new 5.1 surround soundtrack was remixed from the original digital audio files by re-recording mixer Jeremy Grody. So, you know, the way that this film is shot gives lens to that gritty, down to earth, uh, quality to the picture and the independent filmmaking style. And I think it serves this film very well. The 4K restoration of it really cleans it up really nicely and makes this image look beautifully organic. You know, it's not the, tack sharp type of a picture that you would get on some more modern films that you would see today, but it is beautifully restored and it looks very nice on the Blu-ray format. So I think the picture quality is solid, especially given the materials that they were working with and just the way it was shot. I think it beautifully realizes the intended imagery of this film, which was intended to show the gritty, realistic, neo-realistic vision of life in New York City in this wholesale district, hustle and bustle lifestyle of these immigrants who are trying to eke out a life in the Big Apple. I think it just beautifully shows that visually. So I think from a picture quality standpoint, the picture is very clean and there's a fair amount of detail in the image. It's just a nice looking organic image in this Blu-ray. Again, it's not the most tack sharp presentation just because of the nature it was shot, but in terms of the intended photography with that video digital camcorder type cameras that Shawn Baker was using, they took the footage from that and they scanned it into 4K, did a restoration, and they did a fantastic job beautifully cleaning it up and making it look as good as it can look and authentically presenting the film the way it's intended to be seen. So I think it looks really nice. In terms of the audio sounds just fine. You're getting a lot of dialogue, whether it's dialogue on the streets, dialogue in the shop, and you can hear the dialogue quite well. And, I thought it was very well rendered on this Blu-ray disc. So I think the video and the audio quality is fantastic. And based upon the way this film is intended to be presented in this gritty nature, I think it's an absolutely beautiful presentation. Now, if you look on the inside of the case here, you'll see a couple of things that I think are very noteworthy of what you see on the inside. You see this disc here, which is indicative of like a knockoff disc, which I really like. I like the art on the disc here. It sort of gives that knockoff quality, as well as you see here this this little fold out has like designer like labels on it indicating the fact that they're selling counterfeit bags and goods. So really, really like that. And then, of course, inside the booklet, you get some nice imagery, some nice pictures there. You see Shawn Baker and Karina. You see the little baby who played Prince there in the film. See several other pictures that are very nice. Very, very nice. But yeah, this is a very, very nice looking and sounding picture on the Blu-ray format. Now, as far as the special features, let me go back to the presentation here and talk a little bit about the special features, because I think the special features are quite nice on this Blu-ray. So the special features include some very nice cast reunion interviews. So you see here a collage of pictures here. You see Kat Sanchez, who played the girlfriend who gave Lucky the baby to take care of for a few weeks. She is the actual mother of that baby. You see Stefanik, who is the production designer and script supervisor. So she talks about her experiences making this film. You see Prince Adoo here, who played Lucky. This is from that recent reunion that they did. This was a reunion, I think, back in 2024, where they came together after 16 plus years having worked on this film. You see here Corinne Karagulian, who played Levon, and then you see here a picture of their first meeting with Prince Adoo, who played Lucky. This is their first meeting, and he talked about how he said to them, "Hey, if you let me star in this film, I'll show you all around this area of New York City. I'll show you the ropes. I'll show you all of the authentic um, uh, aspects of this type of life, so you can realize the vision on the screen in the most authentic and real way." And I think he did a good job on delivering that. And then you see to the bottom right, Kayali Mayaga, who played Karina in the film. Of course, this is Lucky's girlfriend in this movie who supported him in this film. And just great job. I mean, she did a wonderful job in this movie. So she was also in that reunion. But as far as the special features, you have two audio commentaries on here. One that features Baker and the other featuring producer and co-writer Darren Dean and associate producer and actor Victoria Tate. Now, Victoria Tate played Nadia in this film. She was the wife of Karen Kerouligan's character Levon. And, they had those marriage problems. That was a big aspect of the film, fleshing out Levon's character. Victoria Tate played his wife Nadia, and she was an associate producer. Really, really nice stuff there. You have a new introduction by Shawn Baker, and then you have archival interviews with Baker and actor Prince Adoo. And then you have a couple of documentaries on the making of the film. You also have a restoration demonstration featuring Baker and Coco. But yeah, this was a very nice feature on here that showed the cast reunion after 16 years. They met at like some restaurant, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Of course, you see a little bit of footage there of the of the restaurant meeting. Prince is all grown up, so you see at the right, you see him as a baby in the film, and then you see to the left, you see Prince Adoo, and the young man, now no longer a baby. His name is, see, what is his name? Lucky Prince. I'll have to put his name up. I'll have to put his name up on the screen. But you see at the bottom left, you see Prince Adoo and Kat Sanchez, and in the middle, her son, who played Prince in this film. But he's all grown up now. He is a young man now. So awesome, awesome to see. But yeah, this is a wonderful release from the Criterion Collection on Blu-ray. I really like this movie quite a bit. It's a very beautiful piece of independent filmmaking. It looks wonderful on the Blu-ray format, beautifully organic, nice restoration work by Criterion. It sounds good. The supplements are wonderful. It definitely has some good contributions from Shawn Baker about the making of this film, and just really brings his independent filmmaking to life in a way that you can definitely appreciate it. If you're into independent films, if you're into Shawn Baker films, if you like this type of a story that I've described, this is definitely one that I can recommend. I also want to make sure I bring mention to the fact that in this pamphlet, you have a very nice essay, Out on the Streets by Robert Daniels, that you'll want to avail yourself of, that does a really nice job talking about the making of this film and Shawn Baker as an independent filmmaker. So definitely recommend that you check that out. But yeah, don't you love the sort of the designer like bag look of this? It's like it looks like a purse almost, whatever. And then of course on the inside, I like this. You'll see the empty rack there. That's a very inside the counterfeit store. You see the racks have been cleared, and that's a very important aspect or portion of the film. But don't you love this art on the disc? It looks like a counterfeit, or not counterfeit. Well, it looks like a bootleg DVD or something like that, right? So like that, love that stuff. And then, of course, the cover art is cool. You see the little hint of the hint of the Dark Knight there, which is really cool. But overall, this is a very nice addition from the Criterion Collection that I can recommend if you're a Shawn Baker fan, if you like independent filmmaking, if you like gritty stories on the streets of New York City that deal with different types of lives that are being lived in that space. This is one you'll definitely want to check out. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of this film if you've seen it? What are some of your favorite films from director Shawn Baker? And what are some of your favorite films that star Prince Adoo? I'm not sure if he's even starred in any other films or not, but if he has, let me know your thoughts on his performance in this film and anything else that he's done. Let me know all that in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Have a great day. Peace.